Lightning McQueen, good show. Yes, we're doodling lightning. But this man, we're gonna be having him look right at us, okay? Just like that, like cheese. So we're gonna start doodling him. Ready to draw?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Nice, light, and loose. We're gonna build up lightning starting in the center of my page. I'm putting down a flat line, figuring out how long I want my rectangle shape to be for the base of Mr. Lightning. Lightning McQueen, you know, he's a car. So he is Bugsy. This is like one of the only characters, not really, we got Wally. But that starts off with a big block. I'm thinking of a chocolate bar, Hershey's bar, on my paper right now, right in the center. And once I have my base rectangle, now I'm able to go in and build up one more. I'm gonna go ever so slightly under that top line that I drew and bring down another flat horizontal line inside my box. Once I do that, I can build up another small rectangle, which is just gonna show off where the hood of Lightning is gonna be. And I'm trying to make sure it's sitting centered here. This way we can have him, you know, be an equal size car on both ends. Once we have our two rectangles, I'm gonna go straight through my center of my drawing and bring down a guideline. We want to go right down the middle, extending that line from the tippy top out to the bottom. Right now we have, you know, Lightning McQueen. Ta-da! Just kidding. We need to go ahead and start carving out features of the sides of our car. So I'm going to jump up to my top left corner. This is where I'm going to start by placing in a nice parenthesis curve, carving inside of my box. I like to wrap this curve around, extending up higher on my box, and I'm ending up bringing it over, creating a really flattened out rainbow that touches the corner of our small rectangle. I want to go ahead and do this on the right side as well. This is where, you know, mirroring is really important, and drawing nice and light. We really ask you guys to be sketchy, you know, with this artwork. It allows you to make new lines if you need, and allow those other lines to disappear when you go to lock in. But in the park, my friends, this is the only place I ask you to be sketchy. With this line, I'm gonna extend it over on my left-hand side, bringing it down the base of my original rectangle, and I'm gonna start to cut inwards now, creating a really big J hook. Now I'm going to create a small little C curve right here on the bottom, carving out that bottom point. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the right. With this, I'm thinking about locking in. Now, I'm getting confident in my line work, and locking in is just going to be me pushing down on my pencil a little bit more, allowing graphite to start to stand out and the sketchy lines to really disappear. This movie, though, Cars, it's pretty iconic. I love it lots. We see Mr. Lightning McQueen star not only one, but not only two, and 3 films all about him. Pretty awesome. Or Mater, too. He's pretty much another star of the show. But this film, I love it lots. We have Owen Wilson, which is the voice actor of Mr. Lightning. And every time I watch this movie, I can't stop saying, wow, wow. So, I don't know, it's just awesome. It's just like, you look like 4th of July. It's the same feeling, and happy late 4th. So go ahead, lock those lines in, and I'm thinking of the design that we're gonna end up seeing on Mr. Lightning McQueen. Anybody know who his sponsor is? Rusty's, yes, Rusty's. And Lightning has a very specific number, 95. 95 actually is a little tribute to Pixar itself. Their first film was Toy Story, and that came out in 1995. And it's crazy, 4 years older than me, that's wild. But 1995, yes, a long time ago, kids, is the time where Pixar made their first film. And that is where they do Mr. Lightning McQueen with the 95. A little tribute to that film. I'm going to jump on the top now. We're going to start to carve out the top part of Lightning. Just like we did with our curves here, we want to curve out the top corners. I'm going to extend a nice stretched out parenthesis curve down from this bottom point up towards the top of our rectangle. And I'm doing the same thing on the right, trying to get that nice arch from the point of the corner all the way up. The Lightning, his top of his car, does ever ever so slightly have a curve to it. So instead of creating a nice flat line, I want you to do a super flattened out rainbow curve from each side. Inside of our top hood here, we need to draw the hood of the front of the car and also his windshield for his eyelids and his eyes. This is where we see a lot of emotion from Mr. Lightning. In the beginning of the movie, he's pretty sassy. He is a more confident character, and he thinks he's, the A game, the best. Kind of crazy. We see big character development for this one. He ends up learning a lot about other people, friends, and how to actually make friends, which is something I think is really awesome. So to start off for our hood, to show off our eyes, I'm going back here on the corners, and I'm going to draw a very flattened out rainbow arch again that extends up to the top of our first rectangle we drew. I'm going lightly, making sure it fits in well, and then I'll go back in and lock this part in. Our hood does sit in front of the lines that we drew earlier for the sides of our car. So make sure you're layering those lines. But with that, the Prestige logo, when we look at Lightning McQueen from the top point of view, we do see it that it actually says Prestige. But when we are facing Lightning like we are right now and having him look straight at us, we don't actually see all those letters. That'd be crazy if we try to fit in Prestige on the very top of his car in this type of point of view. So to make it simple, we're going to jump right in between where this flat line lays next to our big rainbow, and we're going to drop in a nice U shape that starts to show where his logo is. I'm going to go ahead and lock that in, and now I'm thinking about finishing out our eyes. So then we can have the top part of our lightning done. For our eyes, we're going to utilize our center guideline that we drew earlier. And all we need to do is to start by using a very flattened out rainbow from this left side. And we're going to give him some personality for those eyes. I want to show him giving us almost a small little smirk, being confident. So our left eyelid is going to be higher up. And now we're utilizing our center guideline, bringing down a small little L. And now I can jump over here on the right and make this eyelid have more of a curve to it, showing that he's kind of giving us the brow raise. Ooh. And with that, all we need to draw in is his pupils for his eyes. And this is where you all as artists can get really silly with it. If you want to draw some piston cups or maybe some tires or even a hard eye because he's looking at Sally, you can. Something about this movie that I think is really interesting is that when I found out that this was not considered a romantic movie, even though Mr. Lightning and Sally definitely has a romantic connection. The first rom-com film that was done was by Pete Sohn, which is Elemental, not this movie. But for my eyes here, I'm going to go ahead and drop in 2 little circles on each side, really locking those in. And now I can go back in and darken up my eyes. So whichever shape you ended up doing for your Lightning's eyes, make sure they're nice and dark. But with that, my friends, we're more than halfway done. How are you doing out there?
Good.
Oh yeah, so fun. So fun.
Yes.
But we need to go ahead and give him some more details in his actual body now. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump down here. And I'm gonna lightly place down a nice guideline. This is gonna be an extension of a flat horizontal line that sits pretty high up on his body. With this line, I'm going to utilize it as a marker for us to start creating some little things up here. Anybody know the nickname that Sally gives him? Stickers. Yes, we're going to be drawing his stickers of headlights. But hey, my California people over here, I'm going to be drawing headlights, and on the headlights we have turn signals, and even lightning has one too. Right now I'm drawing a small rectangle that sits out on this flat line, and at the edge of our rectangle, I'm bringing down a soft little curve to show an angle within these headlights. And that California blinker, ding, 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 it's right here, a small C curve that sits in the center. With this movie though, I think it's really interesting how they got a lot of the attention to detail with the car world. I love that they used the 1960s Volkswagen Beetles as actual bugs. In this movie, I would love to have 1960 mini Volkswagen Beetles instead of little moths everywhere or mosquitoes. I think it would just be so adorable. And that really just makes sense of the bugs flying around you. And when the artists were trying to discover how to draw the backgrounds, get good perspective on our characters, they ended up taking a drive actually down Route 66 and being inspired about the foreground around them. So with that, we have our headlights, and all we need to do is give Mr. Lightning a big smile. So I'm going to go ahead and jump down here, and since we gave him some sassy eyebrows, I want to give him a nice sassy smile. So right on my left-hand side, up on top, on my bottom side, I'm bringing down a really flattened out U that stretches over to the right and lays just a little bit lower on the right side than it does on the left. This way, he's giving us a small Pixar smirk. We see this Pixar smirk also on Sully. He also has the Pixar smirk. I want to go ahead and jump on the left-hand side and show off a small smile line. It's a little rainbow that sits on our corner up here on the left, showing that we are pushing up into our lightning space. And with that, friends, all we need to draw are some tires. So I'm going to go ahead and utilize this box over here on each side. Where our line started, I'm going to go right underneath that. Where we started to carve in our rectangle, I'm dropping down a parenthesis curve. I want to go ahead and do that on my right side as well, trying to mirror the same curve. But we don't want to make Mr. Lightning McQueen a monster truck. We totally could if we wanted to. You can maybe if you want to, but I'm going right underneath my car's body and placing down a flat line. This line is going to help us utilize where we want our tires to end. We want to bring our tires all the way down to the ground plane and end them right where the hood is touching the top of our car. That is how far in we need to draw our tires. And with our tires, for some extra credit, friends, if you're feeling fancy with it, you're more than welcome to shade them in. Give it a little bit of a different tone because they are darker than his body. Maybe for some extra credit, you want to show that he's driving on the dirt, maybe learning how to drive with Doc helping him out. You can go ahead and make some little dirt piles on the sides of him. But whatever you do from here, friends, is going to be considered extra credit just by doing some little swiggles around his tire. But the last thing any artist should do is your signature to show off your drawing of Lightning McQueen. Did you all have a good time? Did you have fun?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I can't wait to see this. We're going to have a really quick art show. So on the count of 3, I want you to flip your art boards around and say, "Get ya!"